Well, hello everyone and welcome. Now we're going to have another speaker from the Future of Astrology conference, and we have Simon Chokoisky here, and he has written 4 books on Dharma. And I love Simon because he has a lot of similar interests like I do. We're always wanting to prove astrology, how it works, and working with people and chart readings. But Simon's going to be talking about one of the subjects that all of us always want to know about. What is that, Simon? Relationships. And you have done the work, you have written the books, and you even have something to share with us. I think you've created an app for this. So, with no further ado, Simon, tell us all about what you're going to be talking about at the conference, as well as all the books and everything you're about.
And I have the failed relationships to prove it, meaning that people are inspired to write stuff because things in their life are not working, and so they want to figure things out. And I was an astrologer, and I always thought, astrology is like medicine. You can specialize in so many things. You can specialize in predicting earthquakes, you can specialize in matchmaking, and I thought, let me look into this matchmaking field and helping people find love.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I am from the future. I am from the future of astrology. No,
I love
but
that.
um, that is a conference that we'll all be at. And so I've spent the last 2.5 years researching the best techniques from both tropical Western astrology and Vedic astrology and testing to see what works. And back testing on couples that like Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman, who are,
Mm-hmm.
the famous Hollywood couple that worked, and other couples that haven't worked. And therefore, and we've made predictions during the course of our studies, like we predicted the Tom Brady and Giselle would break up based on their charts. And in fact, 2 weeks later they did. It just so happened, but they didn't have the best compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I tried to do, and that's what I'll be presenting on. And Anthony Robbins talks about, you can spend 20 years learning something, or find someone who has spent 20 years learning it and get the juice from them. And that's what I've done in the last couple of years. I've studied with people, read all the books, and I'm going to present the best stuff at the conference. So both techniques from Western tropical and Vedic astrology.
Well, tell me about some of those techniques. Now, you know that I was a Western astrologer for 20 years before I became Vedic. And altogether, I've been doing astrology for 40 years. And I find that, they have the Kuta system in Vedic, and we have synastry in
Mm-hmm.
Western
Yeah.
tropical astrology. So, what do you think about those two practices?
So we use them both. So I have an app called Dilanu. You can go to dilanu.com, and that is a full professional matchmaking app that includes the Kuta system, which I call the ancient method. And so the
Yes.
Kuta system is designed, it comes from a time when couples married not just for love, but more out of necessity, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in order for their families to survive. And so it's designed to see if a couple will survive, will actually hang on together and have children and, have a level of prosperity and so forth. But it doesn't guarantee that you're going to like, respect, and love each other. The Western method of synastry measures, ooh, is his Venus on your Mars? Do you have, sun, moon, that soulmate connection and that kind of stuff? And that stuff is great for liking each other, for those butterflies you feel when you meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't necessarily last.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is we combine, if you're looking for a lasting long-term relationship, we combine the best from the Eastern methods, the ancient methods, and the best from the modern methods. And what we do with Delano is we give everything a score. So it's not ambiguous. It's like, okay, you have sun conjunct moon, but then his Saturn is on your Venus, but your Jupiter aspects his moon. And then it's like all this stuff. And it's like, how do you make sense of it? Well, we give a score, and you can evaluate some kind of, my hand line is pretty straight. My headline is pretty straight, which you can see on my palm here.
Mm-hmm.
In palmistry, that means a fairly linear thinker. I won't show you my left hand because it's worse. And so I like to go step by step in a logical way and give a score to each facet. And then you can go and we can look, okay, on the soulmate factor, on the chemistry factor, you're a 10. But on the sex life factor, you're a 7. On the long-term factor, you're a 5. Okay, so what does that mean? So we evaluate relationships, and there's a friendship factor. There's a karmic glue factor. Karmic glue is like the sense of two people getting stuck together, whether they like it or not. Like you just can't help but be with this person, and now you're stuck. And that can be very bad if it's a poor compatibility, but it can also be very good. Mm-hmm. And I can show you some examples, and I will show examples at the conference of specific techniques and so forth. But I'll show my top 5 techniques, both for sexual compatibility and for long-term compatibility.
Okay. So this is a computer thing, or are we calculating it by hand?
No, all the work is done for you. It's all computerized. We even have reports. So if you go to delano.com, everyone who attends the conference will get a massive, massive discount on this. So if you register now, and you tell me that you've registered, I'll pass that discount on to you even before the conference. You can start fiddling with it. Then when you show up, and by the way, the conference is live, so there's no internet, right? So it'll just be one-on-one kind of interaction, which Hard Defoe, who was my teacher, always said that Jyotisha is done face-to-face, chest-to-chest.
I love that. I agree.
Right?
It's an oral tradition. That's how it is meant to be passed down. So that's what we're doing here, the oral tradition. I love that. And I'm really excited about what you're explaining because it makes so much sense to me about how you're combining both systems together. This is beautiful. Good job, Simon. Show us a little bit about this.
I just noticed that guitar behind me. So relationships are a lot like musical chords and songs, and some relationships are bluesy and minor key. Some are very happy, some are a raga, some are Arabic sounding. In every relationship, to me, it truly is like a fingerprint. It is absolutely unique. Mm-hmm. Let me find what I'm going to share with you, and I'll pull it up right now. And so when I pull up any couple, it truly is a unique reading for them because there is no other relationship like it. So this is the home screen of Delano. It's very simple. And you put in who you want to look at. I just had someone ask me to look at Kamala and Joe Biden and Jill Biden and so forth. Kamala and Joe do not get along, by the way. They do not, I should say they make it work, but they do not like each other.
Okay. I think we can kind of tell that.
Well, yeah, I can give you some insights on that, but I can pull up, let's see, we can pull up Meghan Markle and the Prince, if you like. Let's see,
you go for it.
I'll pull up the classic couple that I use, which is Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman.
Oh, yeah. I use that in my relationship class as well. That's a good one.
So what we get basically, so here are the categories. I can walk you through these. We start with the modern methods, which are a number of techniques that measure sun to sun, moon to moon, and so forth, that measure on a personality level. How do you get along? And they have a very nice score. Anything above 16 is excellent. So they get along nicely. Their moons are conjunct and so forth. Then we have a section called Hidden Strengths and Weaknesses, which is the effects of Saturn and Jupiter. They have a terrible score in this one because they have a lot of Saturn going on, and they have mutual Saturn on the ascendants. And how we translate that to a couple who doesn't speak astrology is Saturn demands alone time. Saturn demands distance. And so for this couple, because they have tremendous compatibility otherwise with this one kind of fatal flaw or juxtaposition, is that they're going to need to have their own hobbies, to pursue their own things, so that he's apart for, you know, a good deal of the time. She's gone for a good deal of the time. And they come together, you know, and talk about, oh, here's what I did. Here's what I did. And from the research, I read a little bit about them. They ended up living in different homes, like they had, you know, the same property, I guess. And he certainly had his own hobbies as a race car driver, and she was an acting coach and did her thing as well.
Yeah.
So when there's a lot of Saturn, you can preemptively build that in to your relationship, and it works.
Yeah.
Does that make
You know
sense?
what I remember from Western astrology many years ago, and I always applied this, and I feel like it works. I want your opinion too, is that you need to have Saturn connections in order for a relationship to last. Do you think that's true?
I think it's true as long as there is a foundation of good compatibility. If there isn't, then people become nitpicky, naggy, and too critical of the other.
Okay.
Because, and fortunately, they don't have the one killer, which is the Saturn Sun. Saturn Sun, when two people have when your Saturn hits someone's Sun or vice versa, their sun can't shine. So they tend to feel a little bit criticized by you when they're around you, even though you may not be doing anything. It's just that you represent Saturn to them. However, yes, the couples that stick together always have a good dose of Saturn. It can't be absent.
Yeah.
But if there's too much, like this is a lot of Saturn. And if they didn't have the phenomenal compatibility they do, then it could have broken down into fights, broken plates, you know, shouting matches and so forth. So yeah, and then we go on the soulmate indicators. You know, Carl Jung had the classic sun moon. What a lot of research has shown is there are some other combos that are potentially more powerful even than that, because sun moon you also find in family members, brothers, sisters, and so forth, who are in a sense soulmates. They're together, but it's not, you know, the definitive combo for a couple to stay together forever. We have karmic glue, which measures the outer planets, the invisible grahas, the Rahu, Ketu, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto effects. Some special Navamsha techniques. Now, this is now from Jyotish. So far, we've been doing synastry.
Right.
From Jyotisha, we have powerful Navamsha techniques to tell us, give us an idea of who am I to you? Meaning you and I could both be perfectly normal, law-abiding citizens. We get together and we start robbing banks. And sometimes, and you're like, what happened? Well, we can measure that. We can see, do we make each other better or do we make each other worse? And that's this section, meaning which houses of the horoscope do my planets activate in you? Which houses do mine act? So if it's all 8th house and 12th house of, you know, secrets and scandal and so forth, even though we're perfectly good people, we may cause problems for each other. Then we have the ancient methods, which are the kutas, in fact, and you can see if we follow this particular couple, they score high in every category. Their kutas are great. They have same yoni, which is great for a good sex life. They score high in you know, all the appropriate categories. And then we have a section called sizzle. There's a check mark for best sex of your life, which is a very rare thing to have. You have to have a certain amount of points. They get it. And sizzle measures a whole bunch of factors for specifically for sex life. We've got your Pluto, Venus, your this and that, all the ingredients from West and East. And so they certainly did. I mean, I'm not privy. I haven't read, you know, anything about it, but I'm sure if you asked them or that it was pretty good.
Well, that's why they stayed together, I bet. One of the good reasons, you know?
For modern relationships, I think it's a must. Western, ancient relationships only gave the yoni 4 points, about 4 to 5 points max. For modern relationships, the yoni, the sexual satisfaction, is much more important, in my opinion. And then we have full reports that go on for pages. So anyone who gets the software gets a full report with remedies. And
You have done so much work. I know what kind of work goes into this. I have, I have an app myself and I know the work that goes into this. Good job, Simon. I love this.
it's a labor of love, Joni. And honestly, the next step, so this is for astrologers and matchmakers. This is for our people, right? Our group. The
Hmm.
next step is taking this to the public as a dating platform.
Yeah.
And so this is the engine, Delano, which will be plugged into a global facing website. I'll make some announcements about that because it's not quite ready yet
Hmm.
at the conference. So if you're at the conference, you'll hear about it first and you'll get, free use, 3 months membership and all that kind of stuff. I'm really preparing a package of really good goodies that I can give to members. So yeah, so that site will be for everyone, whether they know astrology or not, and there'll be no astrology language.
Yeah, I
There'll
get
be
it.
five stars for sex life, right? 0 to 5. There'll be
Right.
5 stars for long term, 5 stars for friendship, 5 stars for what am I to you, and so forth. And that's it. And
Mhm.
depending on what you're looking for, whether it's 7 nights or 7 lifetimes, you can get that.
Wow. This is so useful and it makes so much sense. I really was, I was more into the synastry and I was like, how can you make the CUDA system come together with that? And now you've done it. So I am impressed. This is an amazing work of love, like you say. And I can't wait to hear your class and how you're going to tell us how this all works in greater detail. This is truly exciting. Finally, there's going to be a software that is really about astrology, not the superficial stuff or just one side of the picture. You've encompassed everything astrologically. This is truly great. So tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to as along with all of this.
Well, this has kind of taken a big portion of
Oh, I
my
bet.
time and energy. I'm one of my hobbies is crypto.
Yeah.
But I getting too deep into crypto kind of led me away from teaching, away from consulting, away from doing the stuff that I feel born to do, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and unfortunately there's always someone saying, hey Simon, what's that, what about this thing, what about this coin, and you get
Oh, yeah.
spread thin.
I know.
um
I know. I've
so
been there. I was in,
yeah.
I've had a lot of experience with that too. Yeah.
So at this point I've sold a lot of my stuff, and I'm holding on to a few startup projects because I have a private group called Crypto Questions Answered, where we actually incubate new projects nowadays.
Hmm.
And there's an amazing project called TuneCoin, which is the cryptocurrency of the music industry. And Chris, who's the CEO, is a friend of mine. We started out by producing my songs, and I told him, hey, are you into crypto? And we started the conversation, and this led to him coming out with TuneCoin, which is launching this year. I'm not shilling anything, by the way. It's not even available yet to the public, but um, yeah, so that's another hobby, the interest of mine. And unfortunately, in the beginning, I was doing Jyotisha to predict, and we did very well. We got lucky actually and predicted a few coins that went up. The problem is you have to know when to stop, and yeah, so we had some problems as well.
Yeah.
So I'm back, and it taught me a very valuable lesson, that to go back to your roots and do what you're supposed to do and in what you love. And
Exactly.
and this is what I love. And I want to give people the gift of finding love, finding the best sex of their life. Because let's face it, I mean, not to be, you know, PG-13 or rated R here, but for some people who have never had that kind of orgasmic experience with someone who can make them feel a special way, it can be a revelation. Truly,
Mhm.
being with someone who makes you feel special, makes you feel good, whether it's for one night or for the rest of your life, it can be a revelation. It can mean that, hey, you're worth it. You deserve to have this in your life. And so I want to help people find that,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, everything's about love. And, when you really experience true love, I mean, that's what everybody's seeking. That's why we
Yes.
get, most of my readings, people want to know about their love life. That's one of the number one questions, aside from money. Those are the two things. Let's face
Well,
it, as an
yeah,
astrologer, that's what we get.
my partner Nadia, who does most of the readings nowadays, she has developed an incredible intuition in the system for spotting, um, you know, spotting abuse, spotting in the chart issues that prevent people from loving themselves and finding love with others. And she
Yes,
can just this, Joni. People pay psychiatrists tens of thousands of dollars for months and years to sit on the couch. And it works, by the
I
way.
know.
It's great. We do it in 2 hours. That's the difference, right?
Exactly.
It's like, what was that old saying about Fred Astaire, that his partner did the same moves, but in heels and walking backwards,
Backwards. Yeah.
right? So
Right.
we do the same stuff the psychiatrists do, but we do it in 2 hours and like that, right? Looking at the
True.
chart, or at
Right.
least ideally, that's what a Jyotishi is supposed to do: is touch the nerve, go right to the quick.
Right.
And so she's amazing at that, and she'll be teaching some stuff as well. And she's very private, but I'm going to help her promote her work. And so everyone has the specialties, my point, and we can help people find love in so many different ways. Mine is through the app. Her work is through counseling clients privately and helping them overcome those personal issues,
Mm.
and so
Yeah.
forth. So there's room here for all of us, right?
Yes.
If I
Yeah.
work with a client, it doesn't mean you can't or other astrologers can't. We're all going to contribute something.
I agree. Yes. And even when we do talk about relationships, I feel like with my husband, I've been with my husband, no exaggeration, since I was 15 years old. Okay.
Wow.
We met in high school and we've been together. Has it been perfect? No. But we have stayed together, and I know we have this deep, deep karmic tie together. And we absolutely love each other. I mean, we have three beautiful sons, and life is good. I can't imagine not being in love. I've been in love my whole life. It's been
Well, you are
wonderful.
blessed. You
Yeah,
are blessed. This
I
is good
know.
karma in the area of love. Many
Yes.
people don't have that. Many
I
people,
know, I know. I read for people all day long. And you know what I think, Simon? Part of it is, and I know you'll agree with me, I feel like people need to love themselves. Because when you feel like you don't deserve love, in other words, when you come from a place where in childhood your parents abused you or you didn't feel like they loved you, you're always trying to seek love through someone else. But what we have to learn to do is to love ourselves, because how do we expect people to love us when we don't even love ourselves or think we deserve it? So I think that's a transition that everyone needs to work on. I'm sure you agree and you have some techniques or tools about that. But really, relationships are a reflection of who we are. And once we realize who we really are and we come to a place of love and appreciation and gratitude, I think our relationships will reflect that. And that helps in relationships. What do you think about that?
you've hit it on the head, because I love my product. I love what I have. It measures compatibility, but no matter the compatibility, if you're what we call your personal baggage or personal handicap, we have a whole thing on it that I'm sharing here.
Okay.
If your personal baggage is so heavy, Mr. or Ms. Charming may come and shake your hand and you won't notice them because you're too busy with your baggage.
Right. The
And so
path.
you're spot on. And so we also try to measure the baggage score to see how much are you bringing into this relationship, how many reservations do you have and issues, and so people can come in. one thing one thing we'll do through our product is engage clients who have a very heavy personal baggage score and have them do weekly tasks to lower their score. So it's like a credit score, right? So you can build your personal baggage score to a point where it improves, and then other, let's say you're a woman, other men are seeing this and going, oh wow, she's really working on herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of another way to engage clients. But yes, you're absolutely right. And even you may have the best compatibility and it could still not work
Right.
if you allow your own demons to take over.
Exactly. I get
Yeah.
it. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big topic, but I'm excited to present on it. And it's a short format, but I'll be sharing the gems that I've learned. And if people want to know more, they can get with me at the conference.
Well, I am absolutely thrilled that I'm going to be able to spend some time with you again because we haven't been together or spoken together in such a long time. And that's another thing that I love about this conference. I'm telling everyone this because don't you feel like people learn more from us when we have lunch with them, when we're in the hallways, when we have those conversations? It's really about coming together in person and getting to know the people at this conference that I think we learn even more than what we do in the classes. So I just want to say I'm really excited to be able to, get together again, talk with you. And oh, and by the way, I don't think I told everyone when the conference is. It's June 2nd through the 5th. It's coming up here really, really soon in Dallas, Texas. Five-star hotel. Amenities are going to be fabulous. And we're going to spend time together getting to know each other better because really I feel like our astrological community, that we are a family, we're a community, and we're coming together because where can we speak about all of these things? Not in the usual way, in the regular world. We get to come
Well,
together and be together.
I'll tell you one thing I give you props for all the time is that you, like myself, you aim to bring astrology to normal people, to the world, meaning to people who aren't the woo-woo types,
Mm-hmm.
but people who are still looking for guidance. And so for me, it's been the sports community, the other communities like that, where people appreciate it if you're right. And they don't care what tools you use. If you have correct information, they'll hire you and they pay you a lot of money. And as you were saying earlier, in the corporate world and in certain other aspects, people pay for that kind of for that kind of information. And certainly in the old days, astrologers were extremely valued by the kings and the princes of the world. They were given acres of land and this and that, but you had to be good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the flip side, is if you weren't good,
Yeah. Yeah.
you got pushed off a cliff. So
Right.
so these days, not everyone is cut out to be an astrologer. And one of the cool things about being there live with someone is you also feel their energy. So
So true. Yes.
you may not actually get along. You may not actually like me. So if you meet me, someone meets me, they're like, oh, that's Simon. I like his videos, but he's a jerk in person. Well, that's good. You just saved yourself years of, right, study, problems. Or the reverse. You may like me a lot and you never thought you would. It allows you to feel someone out.
Yes,
And I think that's useful.
that's true. So we get to come together, really be together, and become friends, comrades, associates, peers, everything. And I just, you know what, really and truly, I've said this many times, but I love people. I'm very social. I love coming together and bringing a community together and feeling the likenesses. And of course, like you say, there can be people that may not vibrate at the same frequency, but we all have the same thing in common, a love for astrology. So I can't imagine anybody not liking you because you have that. You're fun and you're out there. You really do bring astrology to everyone.
You
Depend not
haven't met my
just
exes.
yeah.
Well, because they don't live in Texas, but
Ah!
they're
All
in
right.
Tennessee.
Yes, I was just going to say Tennessee. Okay, yes, that's a good old song.
That is a good
Texas from
song. Good
Texas.
writing.
Yeah,
Can we just say an amen for good writing? It doesn't matter the genre. It can be country, it could be blues, it could be any kind of music. When something is well done, well written, you go, ah, that is
I
well done.
love it. And I love music. So you're a musician as well, huh, Simon?
It's my side hobby. Yeah, I write songs actually,
I love
which is why I
that.
appreciate good writing.
Good. Wow. And you write books. You're a talent. I mean, you're a talent to be held. So I just want everyone to know about you, the work you're doing. So if you want to learn more about Simon, please come to the conference. We're going to have a blast and you're not going to want to miss it. And I want to learn more, Simon, about all that you're doing because I know you're always involved in something fascinating. You do the work, you do the research, and you're a bright star. So everyone come meet us in Dallas, okay? Any last words you want to say, Simon?
If we get enough people, I'll bring my guitar.
Oh, bring your guitar. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you
Adios.
for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you.
Namaste.